This is Detroit in 1910, and it looks gorgeous. Look at the public square, the streetcars, the people, the buildings. It all looks so beautiful, so permanent. Oh, wait, I spoke too soon. This is just mind-blowing. Same location, but this is the early 90s, and the only way I can tell this is the same place is the statue. The buildings are gone, the square is gone, the public transportation is gone. Worst of all, there are no people anywhere. If you've ever been to Europe, you know what I'm talking about. Their cities just feel different. They feel walkable, permanent. If you've ever wondered why America feels so car-dependent and empty by comparison, well, it's because America actually tried to build exactly like Europe wants. This is the story of how America tried to become Rome and chose this instead. But to understand how we got here, we need to go back to the decades right after the Civil War. It's the late 1800s, and America's experiencing unprecedented growth. The transcontinental railroad connected both coasts. Steel production was exploding. This was America's first true technological revolution. But here's the problem. Europe had thousands of years of history, art, and empire, and despite all of America's power and growth, it had none of the cultural prestige that Europe respected. Just take Andrew Carnegie, one of the richest men in the world. But when he tried to mingle with European aristocrats, they basically treated him like some rich peasant. He craved acceptance and it drove him crazy. It wasn't just him though. Look at the dollar princesses, American heiresses who literally bought their way into European nobility. There's actually a famous story of Consuelo Vanderbilt who married the Duke of Marlborough, only for him to later admit to her, "I only agreed to marry you to keep Blenheim Palace going with your fortune. I despise anything that's not British." Ouch. But if individual Americans could buy prestige, why couldn't the entire country do that too? Anyway, this is classic behavior for rising powers. When you need cultural legitimacy, you borrow it from someone who already has it. And for 2,000 years, that someone has been Rome. Every empire claimed to be Rome. Charlemagne, the Byzantines, the Ottomans. Even in America's time, Napoleon crowned himself emperor and filled Paris with Roman arches and columns. And the British took neoclassical architecture to another level. This was America's chance, not just to build wealth, but to build the kind of culture that commands respect. And they had the perfect testing ground, Chicago. The city won the right to host the 1893 World's Fair. This was a really big deal, basically the Olympics, but for innovation and culture. For decades, American cities had been chaotic, dirty, and industrial. Then in 6 months, they built something unprecedented, the White City. Over 200 buildings, all gleaming white, perfectly coordinated, all designed in a classical Roman style. And surrounding this massive basin of water were the fair's grandest buildings. It was so vast, so impossibly unified. The visitors couldn't believe an American city had produced it. Accounts go so far as to say that people were stunned into silence, of men removing their hats and women weeping. Even foreign visitors, who probably came expecting American crudeness, were impressed. French critic Paul Bourget admitted that Americans possessed a sense of the beautiful. Coming from a Frenchman, that was practically a knighthood. For the first time, Americans felt superior to Europe, and they were addicted to it. The Chicago vision exploded across the country. Buffalo's 1901 World's Fair included an almost 400-foot electric tower, or this massive bridge of nations lined with classical statues and triumphal arches. Or look at the 1904 World's Fair in St. Louis. The festival hall had a dome larger than St. Peter's Basilica. America was now building like an empire, and it was seen through its monumental train stations as well. Just look at Pennsylvania Station in New York. Its main waiting room was a direct replica of the ancient Roman baths of Caracalla. It made you feel like you were entering the capital of the world. And in front of Penn Station was this post office. This was and still is a post office. But the most ambitious project was transforming Washington, D.C. into a new Rome. They extended the National Mall into this massive ceremonial access and lined it with temples to American power. The Supreme Court became a Roman temple to justice, and they topped it with the Lincoln Memorial, a perfect Greek temple housing their greatest American hero, like some kind of American Jupiter. The vision spread everywhere. Andrew Carnegie alone funded over 2,500 libraries across America, each one built like a temple to learning. Drive through any small American town today, and you'll still see the remnants of this period. Massive courthouses, post offices, and banks. But then, World War II changed everything. America emerged as the undisputed superpower. They didn't need to prove anything to Europe anymore. America was the new Rome. And with that confidence came a completely different vision of what America should look like.
USA in your Chevrolet, America's asking you to call. Drive your Chevrolet through the USA, America's the greatest land of all.
Suddenly, the car became the ultimate symbol of American freedom. The ability to go anywhere, anytime, in your own private space. This wasn't just transportation. This was a fundamental redefinition of the American dream. General Motors produced films like Give Yourself the Green Light, campaigning for massive increases in road funding. The classical city, built for walking and community life, started feeling old-fashioned and cramped and European, so they tore it down. The interstate highway system carved directly through the centers of America's classical cities. Building through cities was cheaper and faster than building around them. Boston's West End was cleared entirely. Detroit's Black Bottom neighborhood, Providence's Italian district, gone. America's grandest monuments were falling to pure economics. The air rights above Penn Station were deemed more valuable than the building itself, so it was demolished in 1963. The final demolition count ran into the tens of thousands. In an empty field in Pennsylvania, the newest American landscape was born.
It must have been moon way up in the blue.
A community of 16,000 persons living in 15,000
Must
homes,
have been
all built by one firm. This is Levittown, one of the most remarkable housing developments ever conceived.
Levittown offered exactly what post-war America wanted: space, privacy, and ownership, all made possible by highways and cheap land. It cracked the code by giving families a sense of freedom and status while locking in rising home values for developers. Everybody thought they were winning.
The automobile is an important factor in the spread of urban areas. Traveling over modern highways, people can escape from the crowded cities and move outward in search of open space to build their homes and raise their families.
And when they wanted public space, they built Southdale Center in Minnesota, the world's first enclosed mall. It had everything a Roman Forum had, except it was private property, climate-controlled, and built to be renovated every 10 years. The civic space was replaced by the commercial space. Today, America is 130 million suburban homes, a landscape of drive-through banks, chain stores, and parking lots bigger than European town squares. This is America's unacknowledged legacy. And it all started with Chicago's World's Fair, a vision so grand it fooled the world. But it wasn't built from marble. It was plaster and fiber made to look eternal. The entire city was temporary, just like Las Vegas would be, where hotels rose like monuments, only to be blown up on TV. Just like the suburbs, houses flipped, malls gutted, town centers erased. Even now, 200-year-old churches in New York are quietly demolished, not because they collapsed, but because their congregations did. And the truth is, America didn't lose the Roman dream. It walked away from it, because for a moment, it thought it had built something better.